Jazz night started badly and never changed. They get blown out by the LA Lakers, trail by as much as 39. We're talking about it next on Postcast.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
David Locke along with Ron Boone here with you on Postcast tonight as the Utah Jazz played the LA Lakers with hopes of stunning the NBA and surprising the Lakers and making a run at a group play championship, and it just started badly and got worse. The Jazz in the first quarter were 7 of 27 from the field, 2 of 14 from three. And by the end of the first quarter, they were down 15 against a team that came into the game ranked 30th in first quarters. The second half, by halftime, the Jazz were 4 of 23 from three. By the end of three, it was 102-75, and then the Jazz were down by 39. Special hello to Chris and Lacey and anybody else who is still with us and tuning in right now. We love you, and we appreciate you because that was rough. Ron, what's it like to be on the wrong side of one of those?
Well, I tell you, it's awfully hard. I mean, you think you're playing bad, and then you look at your teammate, and he's playing bad. He's not shooting the basketball very well, and you should have been rested. You know, you got here early enough yesterday to the point where the energy level shouldn't have been a problem. But man, and you have nights like this. The Jazz shot 25% in that first quarter, and that's not going to get any team off to a good start.
So let's talk about that because that's really the story. Now, defense wasn't good, and frankly, I don't really know. I never know about this when the offense goes bad. And the defense gets worse as the night goes on. I do think those are related, and I do think it's awfully hard when the ball's never going in. But there was a extended stretch where literally the Lakers looked like they were running a skeleton drill offensively because there was no resistance defensively. That probably is going to bother Will Hardy more than
missing shots.
The missing shots. We're going to talk about the missing shots. I'm going to guess Will Hardy's in the press room right now. I'm going to talk about that stretch. So let's talk about the missed shots. Tim Lacombe at halftime talked about a lot of right out of the halftime, kids. They're just not moving the ball. Guys are trying to do it themselves. Jason Terry came on halftime with me and was like, 0 pass and 1 pass possessions are not who we are as a basketball team. What happened there, and what happened with the shooting early in this game?
Well, you just said it. I mean, this is not the way the Jazz want to play. And we watch enough practices and especially shoot-arounds that when they go through play after play after play, I mean, there's plays are designed, David, to get shots at a certain part of position on the floor. And the Jazz, for the most part, are not getting there. And second options, maybe third options and things like that. I know there's not a lot of time on the floor anymore to get to that third option, but you should be able to get to a second option sometimes. And the Jazz, they just, sometimes they get caught up just trying to get to the basket and not running the offense.
Special hello to Paul as well as Killer Nation. I'm giving anybody who says the chat room's getting a shout out tonight. Like, you're with us after they lose 131-99 and lose by 39. You're still with us for Postcast. You get a shout out tonight. We love you for this. Yeah. Let's go big picture. It might be related to the shooting, but for the second night in a row, the half-court offense has been really bad. And when I'm saying really bad, I'm talking about like league average is a little more than a point of possession half court. They're like 0.75. First quarter was 0.5. Second quarter at halftime, they were 0.59. Those are, if that game ended that would be the lowest rating. At the third quarter, they were 0.75. They finished with 0.75. So we've got 8 straight quarters of no half court offense. Some of that, like this is the new lineups and the new rotations. Though that would be, what's your thoughts? Like what's going on with a half court offense right now?
Well, like I said, if you're executing your offense and you're getting the shots that you want out of your offense, you're missing that's one thing. But when you're not getting into your offense and making it work and not scoring in transition, that's another. And the Jazz is, for the most part, that's what we saw tonight. Now, the Lakers are playing well. They look very, very good. LeBron James is just unbelievable. Anthony Davis, and I think I asked you earlier how he's played against the Jazz.
I had that for you. Never got it for you.
You never got it.
Sorry.
Turnover
by me.
This is probably his best game I've seen him play against the Jazz.
He had a really good game
last year
when he got out in transition a bunch of times, and had a big game for us. Special hello to Chris, who's in St. George, to Marty, who said hi as well. There's an interesting comment. And I don't really actually know how to address this, but I'm just going to give guys their love today. I just think this is an interesting comment from Killer Nation. Just when I was getting so hopeful. And it's interesting, like, if you're a Jazz fan, what is hopeful right now? Like, you don't want to lose by 39, and they got blown out a bunch early. And I think what he's saying is, like, hey, we had a bunch of dead nights earlier where we really kind of got run, and then we were in games. And if we can see that in games and those kind of things, I think that's – I'm guessing that what he's talking about. There is a little bit of, I think, an honesty that has to be said about this team right now. And I was actually on the Laker pregame show, and I said this on ESPN in radio here in town. I thought the Jazz and the Lakers are a little similar in this sense. The Lakers are trying to win a championship. They only have 2 players in the top 100 in the NBA. Every other team that's looking to win a championship, the Warriors have like 5 or 6. The Nuggets have 5 players in the top 100. The Suns have 5 players in the top 100. The Lakers only have 2. And who their third best player is a real mystery. And if they don't get a third and fourth and fifth guy to make them be top 100 players in the NBA, they're not going to be able to vault themselves into a championship caliber team as good as but they have a negative differential until tonight. The Jazz, to me, are a little similar on a different tier. We have 1 top 100 player in the NBA. We don't have another player who's really consistently ranked in the top 100 in the NBA. We have some guys that you might put at 92 and you might put them at 105, depending on your opinion. So there's not another team in the league that only has 1 top 100 player in the NBA. Washington Wizards have Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole. Most people, I think they might be wrong, but most people put them both in the top 100. Unless some of our guys make the vault into being top 100 players in the NBA, we're going to have some tough nights. Like the same way the Lakers right now, if you look at the Lakers, they play below 500 teams, they win. They play above 500 teams, they lose. You know why they lose to above 500 teams? Because they only got 2 players that are in the top 100.
Yeah.
So on the hopeful thing, like, I'm with you. This was disappointing. You don't want to get run. You never want to get blown out. And we've had a few of those. But I think part of the hopeful thing is, like, okay, well, which of our guys can navigate this and learn a season and learn a role and become someone who's a top 100 player in the NBA and be a part of this? And which guys can't, and then maybe they're not a part of it. Like, I think that's the story of the season. That's kind of where we're 4-10. Like, I'm not going to, like, suddenly back off a bunch of things I've told you guys over the years. Like, I'm a huge believer that the first 15 games of the year is a brilliant indicator of what's real and what's not. We're 4-10. You are your record.
So to add to what you're saying here, the Jazz, what the callers,
Killer Nation.
Yeah, thinking just when it was getting hopeful. I mean, there's still hope.
Yeah.
To be competitive against teams and not just get blown off the floor. Like
right.
This. But you have nights like this.
Yes.
And
we go do this 5 out of 6 nights.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Exactly. And so, without only, as you mentioned, only 1 top 100 player on our team, you can expect something like this to happen every now and then. But what we're looking for is to show promise and have hope, building into something like this and not just get consistently getting blown off the floor. And you want to be in basketball games, give yourself a chance to win. We saw that against the Phoenix Suns the other night. That type of basketball, and you end up losing. I mean, you can live with that.
I think some of what we're both saying here, and I didn't say it very well, is like we're kind of agreeing with you, Killer Nation. Like this night kind of zaps. We're kind of agreeing, but. And Ron brings up, well, it's probably going to happen when your roster just isn't completely formed yet.
Great way of putting it, yes.
And so I wouldn't have it be a night that loses hope. There's little fun, but now what gives you hope? So the Phoenix game, certainly, and even Keontae getting those clutch minutes against some of the best players in the NBA and guarding Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, like you can't teach that. You know what the next one is? Let's see what happens to these guys the next time they start 7 of 27 and 2 of 14 from 3. Can they get through it? Can they learn something on, oh, wait, I don't have it tonight. How do I get through this? We've seen this team do this a lot where they're not great for a while, and the next thing you look up and they're still within 4. Tonight was the opposite. They weren't great, and you looked up and you're like, uh-oh, we're down 15. Uh-oh, we're down 22. Uh-oh, we're down 39. So let's watch the next time and see, do they find a way the next time to not go down 22? Like that would be something that I think's learning and hope. But there's a lot of it, and they're hard to find, right? Because wins and losses are probably not going to be the most rewarding thing all the time. And so you have to find games like Phoenix and say, okay, there's a lot to be learned there. And wow, Kevin Durant's great. And boy, LeBron great. Let me ask you, our focus is so much on 2 guys, Lowry and Keontae, rightfully so, and it will be for the entire season. Lowry was way off tonight, like bizarrely off. Like his body wasn't working for him tonight. Does that deflate the rest of the players when their best player is like that far off?
It shouldn't, but sometimes it probably does, especially if you think, okay, he's off. Now I have to pick my game up, and then you deviate from the game plan and start playing yourself, if you understand what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Keontae is shooting about maybe under 30% now, and probably about 24% since he moved into the starting lineup. He's a little better than that when he was for the season, but coming into tonight, he was in the 5 games he had started. He was 31% from the field, and he was 26% from 3. And he tonight went 3 of 11 and 1 of 5. So both those numbers will get a little worse. And the half court offense has not been great. Is there any? What's your thought? Like, one, I guess there's question is there concern? And then question 2 would be, what's the impact on Keontae? Because he knows he's not shooting well, and he knows that's what he's supposed to.
There's pressure on him.
Yeah.
There's definitely pressure on him. And was he better coming off the bench and playing minutes of sparring minutes and not getting that starting point guard role? I think, but this is not what Will want. He's going to live with Keontae growing pains right now because he's shooting under 30% from the 3-point line, 36% from the field right now. And maybe the arena has him a little overwhelmed, and we'll see what happens when he goes to New York. And
I mean, these are big moments
like that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, he's just turned 20. Like,
yeah.
And if you go take a second and look, ignore Cason Wallace for Oklahoma City, who's having like the most bizarre season I've ever seen for a rookie. LeBron is the greatest offensive player of all time. I think he shot 42% as a rookie. Like, this is really hard,
David, with rookies coming into the league when they find out that these guys are good, they're fast, they're stronger. And you know, you can always have that measuring stick when you're watching a game on TV, but once you get to the point where you're playing against these guys and they've been in the league 4 or 5 years and with experience, and you just get overwhelmed with, you know, how they get it done. And not too many guys come into the league that's 16th pick, 20th pick in the league, and just
right. Hey, Cade Cunningham's really struggling in Detroit. He was the number 1 pick 3 years ago, right? This league's hard. All right. The good thing is we get to go do it again against Portland. To all you guys that jumped in quickly, Tyler was upset with Will Hardy not changing stuff. We were at shoot around today. I will tell you, he tried a lot of stuff, and he changed a bunch of stuff. And actually, that might be one of the things this team really has to learn is how do you play one way one night and another way another night. And I think that's probably something where they're really struggling right now. And Will talks to us a lot about in the long run, in the championship run, we're going to have to be able to do these things, and we're going to try them now, even if it leads to some rough nights, because when we are championship caliber, we're going to have to play one way one night, another way another night, and alter things. And they altered some things today, and maybe that's something this group still hasn't quite learned how to do, which is play a different style night to night. Jazz lose it by a lot to the Lakers. LeBron's incredible. Anthony Davis was great. The Lakers win the group, and the Jazz will play on the 6th and 8th of December now. You can mark that down on your calendar. One will be home, one will be away. Have a great night. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will now send you to the new 24/7 national sports stream on YouTube, the first ever Locked On Sports Today. Thanks very much for tuning in. On behalf of Ron Boone, I'm David Locke. This is the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.